I'm Philip Zimmerman. We're in the Phillips Museum of Art looking at collections. And today I have with me a decorated plate. This is a porcelain plate made in China in the mid-18th century. How can I say that of a plate that might look like any other plate that you would come across? There are several distinctive clues. Number one, in terms of its design, the octagonal shape suggests that it might be of mid-18th century origin. The decoration on it shows a very specific scene, which is a Chinese gardenscape. In the center of the plate is a Chinese railing, which most Westerners would identify specifically as a design that is not found in Western design until contact with China. Second, I'd point out this unusual blue formation, what is known among collectors as blue rock. It is in fact a depiction of a limestone rock that has eroded over eons into a very interesting form. And the Chinese were enamored of having such large rocks, which they then moved into their gardens, and the rocks became centerpieces. Hence the centerpiece in this composition on the plate. There are several other features in the decoration that are worthy of your notice. The railing, the blue rock, all of the obvious floral motifs, but in among them are such things as a pair of cranes and several insects, butterflies on the plate rim and some other kind of crawly insect on the foreground. Besides that, the material from which this plate is made is again very distinctive. It is a Chinese porcelain. Chinese porcelains were the standard of the world when they were made. They were very hard. They were fired at extremely high temperatures, literally around 2300 degrees Fahrenheit. When the clay was fired, the clay vitrified, which means that it turned into a glacious state, and it was solid. It was impervious to liquids flowing through it. It was solid, it was very strong, and it was very white, so white that it actually had a blue tinge to it. In the initial firings of the clay, the Chinese put a thin layer of glaze on the plate, or on whatever they were firing, which added further smoothness and luster to the bisque firing. A second firing is where all of the enamel would have adhered to the body. These enamels were made up of different materials, different metallic oxides and so forth, mixed together, that when they were fired they turned into specific colors. One more feature that I would point out is that in Chinese porcelain, the foot ring is unglazed. As you can see, there is glaze on either side of the foot ring, on the side walls of the plate, and on the bottom, but the foot ring itself is unglazed. As we look at the back of this plate too, we can see that this is a plate that was made for wide distribution as opposed to a specific order, and consequently the quality of those plates was allowed to drift a little bit. There are a lot of pebbles and other impurities in the clay. In addition to the impurities in the plate, we can see there is a lot of rim roughness that is not from damage, but it literally is from the firing not being as clean as some other firings. But all in all, this is a plate that most Westerners in the mid-18th century, in the 1740s and 1750s, would have been proud to own, because if you didn't have something like this, you had something that was not nearly as attractive and durable, and of course as exotic and special as this plate is.